Thank you a lot, Bernhard. It was a nice introduction. It's really like this that we will stay partly in Estonia, but we will move from north border to south border, and we will move from the fastly growing region, which is really rich, to the region which is fastly depopulating and where there is not enough investment. So even it's not so far, those 2 points, one from each other, it's 250 kilometers, then the environment is completely different. And I am working in Valga municipality as town architect, but I'm also working in Tallinn Technical University, and my research is dealing with urban space in depopulating or shrinking towns and cities. And this is also a reason why I'm working in Valga. So my research and work in Valga is really interconnected. And that's why I will focus in my presentation on this topic. And more concrete, I will present you one achievement, one quite important project which have been accomplished here in Valga and Valga urban space last year, and we are really proud about. Next slide, please. So Valga and Valga is really on the border between Tallinn and between Estonia and Latvia. Even as you see that Estonia is more and more only Tallinn, and Latvia is the same. Most of people in Latvia is living in Riga, and the economic GDP of Latvia is also mostly concentrated in Riga. So both Estonia and Latvia are suffering really by the process of really strong urbanization. Next slide, please. So this is Valga and Valka, really tiny town, which is split between Estonia on the right side and Latvia on the left side. Estonian part of the town has 12,000 inhabitants, Latvian approximately 5,000. Next slide, please. But it used to be one town, quite important town. The town was called Valk. It was a German-speaking town, and it was one of important towns in Livonia. Livonia had been formed by South Estonia and North Latvia, and it was really one region, even if different nationalities lived there. And the Valg have been mentioned for first time already in 13th century. Town get rights in 16th century, and it was all the time a really small town. It started to be a little bit more important in the end of 18th century because it became county center. The counties was both in Estonia and Latvia, so it was around the town. Town growth have been really connected with railway construction, and on the end of 19th century, railway have been constructed in 1887, and till 1914, which was the start of the First World War. In this short period of 25 years, the population of Valga have been tripled. So the railway brought really important rise for whole the town. It have been suddenly cut because when Estonia and Latvia got independence, then there was need to split the town somehow between Estonia and Latvia. It was difficult. Those negotiations took 2 years, and the result is that most of the towns stayed in Estonia and a smaller part in Latvia. Latvians till now they didn't accept it well, this division, even it's more than 100 years ago. So there was really some emotional problems about the splitting of the town. When Estonia and Latvia lost independence and they have been incorporated in Soviet Union, then the administrative border was still there, but it was quite easy to cross the border because both have been the state of Soviet Union. once more, the real border appeared in 1991 when Estonia and Latvia regained independence, and then the border was really physical. Next slide, please. Here, really shortly, I really want to present the population development of Valk and Valga and Valka. You can see that the first growth was on the end of 19th century, between 1880 and 1914. The population grows from 4,000 to 16,000. Then when Estonia and Latvia got independence, then the town have been really in huge economic difficulties, population shrink. Once more, when Estonia and Latvia have been incorporated in the Soviet Union, then the population have been growing fastly because of industry and military services. And when Estonia and Latvia regain independence, population have been shrinking fastly. The blue line is for both Valga and Valka, red line is Valga, and green line is Valka. You can see that the top point was on 1980, 27,000 people. Now we have approximately 17,000, and the prognosis is that we will lose even more. So 1/3 of the population of Valga and Valka have gone. Next slide, please. We have some institutional or formal cooperation between Valga and Valka. Today, a lot of presenters explain why it's important to have some institutional format, even if our case, really tiny town case, most of this interconnection or communication is going through concrete persons. So for us, maybe it's not so important, but still we have some agreements signed in between Valga and Valka. There was also for a long time Estonian Latvian Institute for 20 years, which was NGO organizing meetings and different events, but we have together, and also providing Estonian and Latvian translation, because this is the main barrier between Valga and Valka is different language. But let's go to the next slide. We have a lot of joint activities. Our mayors meets every month, mayors and specialists. If there is necessity, then even more often. We have some cultural festivities together, border markets, Twin Town Festival, also sport activities as Valga and Valka run race or Estonian Latvian run race. But we are proud about our cultural cooperation because, for example, common art schools for Valga and Valka, which is named Valk, is situated in Latvia, and there are 3 languages you can learn in: Estonian, Latvian, and Russian. And we have also modern dance studio where also part of the dancers are from Estonia and part of Latvia. Next slide, please. Since we joined the European Union, both countries into 2004, and mostly since we joined Schengen in 2007, the physical border have almost disappeared. And it provides us also possibility to apply for structural fundings from European Union. There is a list of different projects what we did till now together, but I will focus only on the last one, which is Valga Twin Town Center Development, which has been supported by Interreg Estonian Latvian project. Next slide, please. Program, sorry. So this project, Valga Twin Town Center Development, the cost together was 5 million. For us, it's a really huge sum, and 3 million came from Interreg. The process has been really long. We started to negotiate about funding possibilities in 2014. It it ends by indirect delegation visit of Valga and Valka site in September 2015. We are really proud that we got you here in Valga to show what we have and what are those necessities. In 2016, we ran architectural contest, and it was won by in project studio from Barcelona. So designers of our new urban space came from Catalonia. Designing works finished in 2019, and building process have been running in 2020. And opening ceremony was in 2021. Here I shortly want to really mark how important for us was the COVID situation, because we have started to build in March 2020. Builder put its fence around the building site, and only 14 days later, Estonian government came with their own fence, which had been put on the border. So construction site was suddenly cut in half, and we needed several days to get agreement that builder can walk from one state to another state. And secondly, COVID influenced us really on the end, because we wanted to have common opening ceremony, and rules in Estonia and Latvia have been so different that we needed to wait almost half of year to find one moment when it was possible to make opening ceremony. Next slide, please. This is a really old map. It came from second half of 19th century. Valga in this moment was really small, but on this map you can see the territory which we had changed. The gray area is Valga, Valk town in this epoch. The blue area is the suburban of Valk in this epoch. They have never been merged together administratively, because there have been some prohibited activities in the town. For example, you couldn't sell alcohol in Valk, so that's why it was important, if you have been selling alcohol, to place in the suburbans of Valk. And the border after the First World War was put exactly on this old border between town and suburbans. In the middle of gray area, you can see a red church. This is our church, Valga church. And in the green area, there is another church, which is Valka church. And in between of those churches, there is a Cyprus street. And the border itself is marked by a frog stream. I will talk about those urban elements later. Next slide, please. Here you can see how this Cyprus street have been looking between 91 and 2007. There is a really fence on the border. You couldn't cross it, even if we are in a real center of urban space of Valga and Valka. And in this really central area, you had feeling from both sides that the world is ending. There is nothing more. Next slide, please. So what have been our expectation before the Valga-Valka common urban space project? What are those problems we wanted to deal with? First, I have mentioned just that because of history, we had in the middle of the Valga and Valka twin town, we had an area which have been looking like a suburban area. Second is really connected with our situation of depopulating town, because if you are losing population, then of course less people need less buildings start to be empty, you have not enough money to invest in urban space, so urban space is underinvested. Both empty decaying houses and underinvested urban space means that the territory is not attractive, and for any town or city in the world, the city center and its attractivity is really important, because every people link itself with its hometown or home city through emotionally through the attractiveness of the city center. If you don't feel yourself well in city center, then you are much less prepared to you don't believe that this area has a future, and that's why you are much less prepared to be active to make the future of the town better, to invest your time. So we really wanted to take border away from urban space and make urban space much more attractive. Next slide. Let's look how it's succeed. So our more concrete, our expectation have been was the new pedestrian street between Valga Church and Valga Church. Also new center square for Valga, because we have already done before center square in Valga. So now we wanted to have pedestrian street with center square of Valga and Valga on both ends, and we wanted to change this surroundings of Frog Street that it would be some kind of really active and busy park. And through all those investments, we wanted to activate those empty buildings which would we have in the city center. Next slide, please. Sorry, next slide. This is the result. So here on the big picture, you can see on the left side this pedestrian street and Valga new city square. In the middle there is this frog stream, and you can see new bridge on the top of this frog stream, and there is also new sport area for young people, which is on this right picture on the bottom. Next slide, please. We did new. Generally, we and architects wanted to erase border from the urban space, that you have no more feeling to be on the border. But there are two exceptions. We really wanted that if some tourist come from away, then for him the border has some value. So we wanted to mark the place when you can make your picture on the border. This is this right picture. There are flags, and there is also on the surface written Estonian Latvian border, and there is a bench. You can sit with your friend on the bench, being him in Estonia and you in Latvia, or opposite. And also we did a new bridge over the Frog Stream, and there is a swing on the bridge. So you can swing from Estonia to Latvia and back. Next slide, please. Now there is a really short video, 1.5 minutes, but it gives really overview about what we did. So I think it's good to look on. Okay, next slide, please. So what we learned from this process, Our main expectation was that this support from Interact help us to deal with those outcomes of population shrinkage, and we feel that it works. It works definitely emotionally, because now you can see how locals use the area, and they are really proud about. I can give one example. When we had a meeting to give support to Ukraine, then the meeting have been run on the Valga new square, and there have been more people from Valga. So we are really using it together. There are also some first signs that those buildings around this, which has been empty, starting to be in use. You saw it in this video. There was a new cafe which have been built after we accomplished the new Valga Central Square. It's true that change of whole city center takes much more time. So we need to be patient. If the process of depopulating runs for 3 decades, then this is not enough one project to change it all, and we have also the different strategies what we are dealing with. But we also learned that there have been a lot of challenges coming from different institutional settings. I explained some problems with COVID, but we had same problem with, for example, public procurement system in Estonia and Latvia, or some design rules, but it's too detailed to talk about today. And what we learned also, that this value that we have no more border between Estonia and Latvia is for Valga, and Valga really important. So we need really do everything to keep this situation. Next slide, please. Our activities to overcome population shrinkage in an urban space have been presented also in architectural biennale in Venice last year, so it got quite huge attention also worldwide. Next slide. This is end of my presentation. I hope I gave you some overview how we are working really locally in a small amount of people, but I still think that it's valuable example for you. Thanks a lot.